Hello everyone and welcome to another video. In this video I'm going to talk about 10 things that you should do before you start your Airbus A320 type rating. Now I recently completed my type rating and got a good simulator feedback from my examiner and instructors and also cleared my airline interview. Looking back, there were a few things that helped me make my type rating smoother and more effective, and a few things that could have made my type rating more easier. I'll list down the 10 things that you should do for the same. Now, the first thing that I want to emphasize on is understanding the Airbus philosophy. Build your foundation. This is a fly by wire aircraft. It has different ways in which it works, okay? There are protections inside the aircraft and there are many more things which you do not know yet. So study about the Airbus philosophy. What is fly by wire? What are the laws in Airbus? What are the protections? What is the difference between a managed and a selected mode? Why Airbus prioritizes so much of automation? Understand all these things. Because if you don't understand this, everything will feel confusing later. The next thing that I want you to do is get familiar with the cockpit. Now, the A320 cockpit is huge, okay? It's not like your everyday Cessna or a multi-engine cockpit. There are a lot of buttons and a lot of switches. There are certain panels which you may not recognize. For example, this panel over here is called as the flight control unit. This is your pedestal. This is your EFIS. And on top you have your overhead panel. The purpose of this is to know where things are. For example, if someone tells you switch on the APU bleed, you should not go here and there looking for the APU bleed. Rather, if you know the aircraft, you will understand, if you're familiar with the layout, you'll understand that you'll find the APU bleed somewhere in the air conditioning over here. Got it? The next thing that I want you to know is get your MCDU basics right. So I'm not telling you to master the MCDU like an airline captain. However, understand what each page does. For example, what's there in the flight plan page, what's there in the init page, what's there in the performance page. You just need to know what each page does, and you can watch plenty of videos on YouTube on how people understand and deal with certain procedures and flows, etc. So it's really not that deep. The next tip, the fourth tip, is understanding the autopilot and the FMA. Now, this is so important, I cannot emphasize enough. It deserves a whole another video for itself. The Airbus's auto flight system is very, very vast and complex. The more you understand it, the easier your flying becomes, and also understanding your FMA very properly, because Airbus will not do what you want it to do. It is going to do what the FMA is telling it to do. Understood? Now, another thing. Understand SOPs and flow philosophy. Learn your flows, learn your checklist, know your duties as the pilot flying and the pilot monitoring, and do your task sharing appropriately. All this information can be found in documents like your FCTM and FCOMs. You can ask your seniors or friends to share it with you. Learn to work as a team. Now this still comes under your SOPs, okay? Learn to work as a team. Avoid unnecessary talk in the cockpit. If one of you gets distracted or lost, help them. Understand that in type rating you are not alone anymore. You are a team, a duo that makes operations safer and more efficient. Next is basic flows. Memorize or at least become familiar with the sequence logic. For example, if you are the pilot flying, before entering the runway, you have a flow. You check the runway and then you check the approach path and then you set the exterior lights. Now, if you memorize these flows or at least get familiar with them, it will make your sim sessions more smooth. Next is please revise your instrument flying. I cannot stress on how important it is, because your weak IFR skills will become very obvious to the examiner very, very fast. Next is understanding some performance related aspects in the A320, like your V speeds, V1, VR, V2, what do they mean, what are their significances, what is the F speed, S speed, and then other performance figures like what is thrust reduction altitude, what is your acceleration altitude, what is the meaning of your flex temperature. Understanding these concepts are very useful not only in the simulator but also for your future interviews. The next thing that I'll suggest is start chair flying. Get an A320 cockpit printout like this. Okay, get an A320 cockpit print, preferably on an A1 paper, as it's quite useful, and practice call outs, flows, hand movements, all these things. These will dramatically reduce your sim overload. Now, I'm not telling you to become a captain or a first officer level proficient person. Just practice it. So you're not going to be shocked when you actually start flying in the sim. Now, the last thing that I want everybody to focus on is fixing your attitude. Everyone feels overwhelmed initially. You are not the only one who's going to have difficulties during your initial typewriting days. Even the best A320 pilot definitely felt a little bit of overwhelmness. Do not compare yourself with anyone, and always remember, it doesn't matter how smart you are. Preparation is always going to be more important than being intelligent in your typewriting. The more prepared you are, the more ahead of the aircraft you can think, the more prepared and the more situationally aware you will be to deal with situations that are difficult. And always remember, your consistency is going to beat your last minute study. Practice your flows every day, practice your memory items at least once a week, practice call outs every day. All these things, if you're consistent with your studying, you'll do very well. Now, the last tip as a bonus is to work on your mental maths, improve it a little bit, it'll definitely help you. And don't panic, learn to stay calm under stressful scenarios. All these things will improve your situational awareness and give you a better mental picture of what's happening in and around the cockpit. And lastly, if you found this useful, share with your friends, like the video, and if you want more technical videos, let me know in the comments. I'll work on them as well. Technical as well as procedural. For example, if you want me to show how a takeoff is done on the A320 and other such stuff. For example, right now I am on Delhi runway 090. I'm prepared for takeoff. Everything's set. The lights, the MCDU, and everything else. If you want procedural or technical videos, let me know. I'll work on those as well. Thank you for watching. Wishing everyone clear skies and happy landings.